Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Glass from Solstice. Andy, how
Hey
are you?
Vin, I'm good. Hey Vin, thanks for having me, man.
Oh, it's my
Yeah,
pleasure. My pleasure. How's it going out there? I mean, how's the weather? I heard it's getting really balmy out there right now.
yeah, yeah. We're not used to this stuff, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been in the 30s, and I'm not big on the heat, So I've been hiding in this studio with all my merchandise, and
Yeah.
it's like chaos in here, man. But yeah, actually, it's cooling down now. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I went to a little festival yesterday, and it was just gorgeous. So
It's a great day
yeah,
for a festival.
we're enjoying it. How about where you are? I don't actually know where you are, Vin.
It has been, all right, I'm in Nashville in the United
Oh,
States.
cool. Right,
Yep.
nice, man. That's the heart, the beating heart of the
It is a
music
beating
scene.
heart. It is. Unfortunately, the music doesn't particularly line up to my taste right here because it's all country but yeah,
Yeah, but they're the best, some of the best musicians in the world, man. I mean, play country music. So
yeah.
I'm not a big country fan, but I'm a huge fan of the musicianship.
Yep, I am too. That's great. So, all right, so let's get started. I wanted to ask you specifically, let's go back and talk about where it all began. I know that Solstice began
Sure.
in 1980.
Sure.
You were based in Milton Keynes. Is that where you're at right now, by the way?
About 10 miles away, yeah, in
Okay.
Northamptonshire. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And that you played the Marquee, the main stage, Reading Rock Festival. You played Glastonbury. And
Yeah.
I mean, you were just it was a quick start for you, from what I understand. You went out on a tour. Tell us a little bit about how you grew up, what your main musical influences, and how it all got started there, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. So it was well. I mean, that kind of success in the '80s was all entirely by accident. As
Right.
as was the band, really. I mean, we were, me and Mark Elton, the fiddle player. We used to jam together a lot before we started the band, and I lived in a caravan in a kind of idyllic traveler site, in the middle of the woods, and
Hmm.
and we'd yeah, and we'd sit around the campfire and play together. And then one day we just thought, well, there's some nice music here. Let's see if we can get a band together. And we did. We got Mark Elton and Mark Hawkins and Dave Harden joined us in the cellar of this little house. And a local guy gave us a gig. This is in 1980.
Yeah.
Gave us a gig, we just went along, kind of intending to have some fun. And people really, we were amazed. People really responded warmly to what we were doing. So we thought,
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool. And of course, not long after that, Marillion started
Right.
a little while later, and they were really driven. Well, Fish was really driven,
He
and
was.
weirdly, I was in the band that became Marillion.
No, sir.
And that's right, with it was a
Sim.
band called Electric.
I thought it was going to be
Oh,
Cimarron.
Silmarillion, yeah. So no, before that, band called Electric Gypsy, who
Oh,
was
okay.
Doug Irvin was in the band, and Mick Pointer, the drummer, who of
Right.
course became and a singer. And me and the singer, we were a bit too rock and roll for what they wanted to do, and they were very serious, and so they slung us out, and then basically Steve Rothery and Fish, Diz Minute joined. Doug, who started the band, was kind of thrown out of the band, and then of course Mick eventually was thrown out of the band. So,
Right. Right.
so Fish was like super driven, and anyway, we were all mates. So when they started playing some shows, they gave us some support, and we really kind of through that period, the early '80s, were on their coattails.
That's awesome.
That's how we got to play the Marquee, and then from there we got our own headlines there, and we got
Beautiful.
Reading Festival, and all these great things happened. And yeah, we were doing a lot of touring in the back of an old horse box, kind of living hand to mouth,
Yeah.
and
Right. Right.
not that that's changed ever since, really. But so we had a great time,
Yeah.
and then finally in '84, I'm sorry, we managed to record our debut album, Silent Dance, and it was a good experience to start with, but we kind of ended up with something that wasn't really what we were intending.
Hmm.
What we really wanted was like a nice representation of how the band sounded live, because we were playing a lot. We did hundreds of gigs. You know, we knew what we were doing. We knew
Yeah.
what we wanted to sound like, and we just wanted to get a great recording of that so we could release it on vinyl. You know,
Right.
which
Right.
was the only real option at that time. And it's not really kind of what we didn't really get what we were hoping for. So, but I have that experience to thank for the next album, really, and the subsequent albums, because I
Right.
decided, you know, if you're not happy with what's happened here, then you better learn how to do it yourself. And
Good idea.
so yeah, so I spent the next few years kind of accumulating a little home studio, and yeah, and eventually, you know, in '92, put this New Life album together, which we're here to talk about today.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. It's a great album. I'm glad you did the remaster because I heard that album plenty of times. I didn't own it. It's one of maybe, I think, two or three in your entire collection I don't have in mine. So when the remaster came out, I was kind of like, what's behind this? And let me take a listen to this. And I was really happy with what I heard. It was really good stuff. So you picked a good one for the remaster.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're welcome.
well, actually, it's a kind of a series that we've started. So, because of the kind of the interest in the band has grown over
Yep.
these last few years. So has the interest in our back catalogue. You know, and I've been thinking for a few years I should find the time to look at remastering the back catalogue and start putting it out. So inevitably the place to start was with Silent Dance, our debut album. So that
Yep.
actually came out last year as a remaster.
Right.
And
Right.
that was kind of a bit of a revelation for me because, like I say, I was never very happy with the album, never really listened to it much. I mean, Stephen Wilson, who used to come to the Marquee as a kid while we were and saw us play, you know, many times, was a fan. He was similarly disappointed when he bought that album. So 10 years ago or so, you know, I see Stephen from time to time. He still comes to gigs, and he was a gig we were doing at the Underworld in London. And he said, "Hey, have you still got the multi-tracks for Silent Dance? Because I'd love to remix it, you know, just for
Wow.
him."
Yeah.
Yeah, just for himself, because he loved some of that music. It was part of his formative years.
Right. Right.
And of course, you know, he's one of the best, you know, remixers and mastering
Really
engineers
good. Great
in
ears.
town.
Yeah.
So of course I was thrilled, you know, that he wanted to have a go, but we could only actually access or find the multi-tracks for 3 of the songs. So he remixed those 3 songs, and sure enough, you know, they sounded a lot better and a lot closer to what we'd kind of gone in wanting to achieve.
Right. Right.
So anyway, so last year when I looked at remastering it, because of the kind of, you know, the tools that digital tools we have available now, it was a bit of a revelation just how much better it sounded, or I was able to make it sound.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good, because I was full of trepidation about reissuing that in any form, because
Right.
you know, as I say, we weren't that enamored with it. So of course, then the next logical step, and I'm just going to work through it in chronological order. So the next one, of
Got
course,
it.
was New Life,
Got it.
which
Yeah.
I think is an album that, as with yourself, you know, a lot of people aren't really aware of. I mean, lots of people know Silent Dance because, you know, it was the debut, and
Yep.
a lot of our older fans were there at the time. But yeah, we weren't functional as a band when we did New Life. You know, it was never toured. We weren't playing live at the time at all.
Right.
So it's a kind of album that's been overlooked a bit, and so I'm really happy it's out. I'm really happy with the way it sounds, and I'm delighted that you enjoyed it, man. You know, that's great.
I did. I really did. I love all your stuff, but you know, I'm a big fan. And not to go off on a tangent on a side note here, but I have a habit of turning people on to music that I love, and I match their particular tastes for music and figure out exactly what would be good. And you guys fit everybody I know, every musician I know. I have given this album to, thinking they'll like it, but I'm dying to hear what they say about it. And I had 2 of the greatest musicians that I've grown up with playing with, and they came back to me and said, "Holy, you know, like this is amazing stuff." And one of them is one of the best guitar players I've ever played with in my life. He's a really close friend of mine who lives in New Hampshire. And he said, and I quote, he said, "I never even heard of these guys, and now they're my favorite band." I don't know how you did it, but so, I mean, congrats, man. You're like moving it.
Wow.
Isn't that awesome?
That's incredible, Vin.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
good
really,
stuff.
really thrilled to hear that. I mean, that it's kind of, what we're at the moment is, there is a big, internationally, even in the UK and Europe, there's a big potential audience for
Yeah,
what we're doing.
right.
It's just like, how do you get in front of them, man? So that's kind of the mission,
Yeah,
and it has been really for a few years is
yeah.
just to try. And so people like you, covering this and introduce, that's how it works. That's how we
Word of
get
mouth.
to more people.
You
So,
bet. You bet.
yeah, exactly. So thank you so much, man.
Oh man, my pleasure. I'll do it all the time. I live for this stuff. Let's go
Oh,
back to what you
great.
said a second ago. My first question that pops into my head is: are you still talking to Marillion? Are you hang out with those guys at all anymore, or do you lose touch over the years?
Yeah, well, funnily enough, I mentioned Steve Wilson just now, and
Yep.
Steve Rothery and Stephen Wilson came together to a show we did a little while ago.
Wow.
So, yeah, which was kind of frog royalty, up in
No
the balcony.
kidding. How about adding another
Yeah.
Steve to it and putting Steve Hackett in there and calling the three Steves?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, funny you should mention that because a friend of mine is in touch with Steve Hackett, so you never know. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I saw Steve Rothers, as
Yeah.
people call him.
Yeah.
Then, and it was lovely to see him. But we've crossed paths only a few times, to be honest. In the intervening
Hmm.
years, we did a gig together in a Lorelei
Oh
Festival,
yeah.
which is a big festival on the Rhine. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was years ago. But so it was really good to connect with him again recently, and
That's great.
he's a lovely guy, man.
Yeah,
So
I've
it's
got a
great.
chance to talk to them. I went to every show they've ever had in the United States when they came here. While I was living in New England, I followed them to like three or four places in the New England area, but they don't come here anymore for obvious reasons. But yeah, I've always loved Murray, and they've always been a favorite of mine. So
Yeah, yeah,
I did a great article on my site, not to digress here, but where I compare Steve Hogarth's Marillion to Fish's Marillion, and I do a
yep,
deep dive on all the characteristics that can be compared between the two: stage persona, vocal range, timbre, entertainment value, creativity,
yeah,
composition, the whole nine yards, and it just goes through everything and compares them one to the other. That shows in the end, and the end result is they're two phenomenal and very, very gifted vocalists and creators. They're just different extremes, and Marillion worked with both of them. And can you name me any other band that's changed their singer and still went on to become bigger than what they were before? I mean, it doesn't happen every
yeah.
day. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. But Genesis pulled it off,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and more recently, Big Train. Big
Oh
Train.
yeah. Greg Spartan and yeah.
Yeah, so Greg's another guy that was at the Marquee,
Oh
back
great.
in the day when we used to play there, and
Okay.
he's lovely the things he says about Solstice
Yeah,
actually,
I've seen
as
that. It
being
was
kind of
nice.
part, yeah, yeah, but I mean, what Greg has managed to come through, losing David Longdon,
Oh yeah.
that would be the end for most bands.
No question. No question.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, he managed to find Alberto, who is a lovely man. That I've met him a few times. We've
Yeah.
done some things together, and the band are growing. So they've managed to come through that real tragedy, and the band are bigger than they ever have been. So
That's true.
Greg is an inspiration, man. I mean, he's incredible.
Yeah, he's a hang tough kind of guy. Because they've gone Big Train's gone through a lot of changes over the years. They
Oh
always
yeah,
maintain some normalcy to their compositional stages. In other words, they create the same kind of music, even with the different personnel that they've gone through over the years. And
sure.
I've always loved them, and they're just getting so grand now. They're big. The big presentation of the stage shows and entertainment values
Yeah.
are really incredible. Great band though. Nick DiVirgilio, I love that guy. Followed him for
Oh, what a
years.
drama. What a drama.
I know.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah,
got,
no, I really like what they're doing. They've kind of pared it down a little bit. The lineup's a bit smaller now. It's
yeah.
a bit tighter. It's a bit more personal. I really like it, and we
Do you like
did,
Woodcut? Did you like the Woodcut album?
Oh yeah, man.
Wasn't that good?
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Greg gave me a sneak preview of that. We
Did
kind of share, we
he?
kind of share each other's stuff, kind of give
Nice.
each other an early look at it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that just took my head off, man. And Alberto, of course, is really involved in the production of that
Yeah.
album. So Alberto's turned out to be an incredible asset for the band.
I agree.
And I think there's some parallels with Solstice, really, because I think Solstice is kind of a bit more of a collective than as Big Train are. We
Yeah.
have a lot of people coming through the band.
Yeah.
Some great singers, and I really love the idea of Solstice being a kind of platform for sort of nurturing younger musicians, because we've had Ebony Buckle, and we have Leonie Jane Kennedy, who's a phenomenal young
Hmm.
singer, guitar player, Diane Crutcher, and these guys are, they're moving forward with their solo careers.
Yeah.
If they come through Solstice, and it's like a win-win, because we have these input from these great musicians, and they get to tap into our audience, and everyone wins and everyone's happy. So I really like that, because we've had like 7 front lead singers over the years. The
Yeah. Yeah.
lineup's changed a lot. But I think that the ethos of the music, and the kind of message, if there is one, it's all still there from day one, really.
Hmm. So
So
I'm going to jump backwards a little bit, and we don't have to stay on this
sure,
topic long because we're short for time. But you were in a
sure.
band that before Solstice became Solstice. Obviously, you were in a Three Sticks band. Three Sticks had Jenny Newman. She's your wife, is that right?
Yeah, but
Okay.
that was, but yeah, but that's it wasn't before Solstice, that's for sure. So it
Oh,
was,
okay. I thought it
yeah,
was
yeah.
before.
Yeah. So basically, Jenny, I got to know Jenny in the sort of mid-90s, when I was
Okay.
looking for a fiddle player to play on Circles, which is a 1996 album, which would be the
Right.
next one that we reissue or remaster, rather.
Good to know.
She was touring at the time in Canada with a band called Rock Salt and Nails, so she couldn't do that album. So Mark did that album, bless him, which was great.
Yeah.
But then when I put a band together to start promoting or tour that album, which included Clive Bunker,
Yep.
Tull's drummer.
Yep. Yep.
So that was a vibe. Jenny joined the band then. And then a few years later, 1999, we fell for each other, man.
That's a wonderful
And then
story.
we got, and she said, and she was doing a lot of playing for Kayleys, which are dances, like
Hmm.
folk dances.
Okay.
Um, they're called Kayleys, yeah. People have them for their weddings, and there's folk festivals that have Kayleys and lots of dancing and stuff.
Right. Right. Right.
And she was doing a lot of that, and she needed a guitar player. So that's how I started playing
Got it.
the folk music with us,
Yeah.
with her.
Yeah.
And that band, which Pete the drummer then also got
Yep.
involved with,
Right. Right. Right.
is called Three Sticks, right? So we play a lot of folk festivals, and
Oh, you
and
still play together like that? That short
oh,
band?
sure,
Oh, didn't
sure,
know that.
yeah. Because the thing is with Kaylee's, right? You're playing for like functions a lot of the time,
Right. Right.
and which means you get paid. So,
What a
so
concept.
that's yeah, I know, it's crazy, right? So yeah, we do a lot of those because it puts food on the table,
Right. Right.
Whereas obviously, doing your own original music, is just like an expensive hobby essentially. It's like it just absorbs money all the time. But yeah, so that's what Three Sticks is about, and we do a lot of festivals in the summer, folk festivals.
Right.
And it's great fun. So yeah, and then in 2000 we were married, and we have 3 children.
Oh,
19,
awesome.
yeah,
Congratulations.
19, 21,
Wow.
23, and
Yeah, the years
they're
go by
all
quick.
yeah, man. And 2 of them are like dedicated musicians,
Oh,
so
that's
they're going to be,
great.
which is great. They're going to be broke for the rest of their lives, but they'll be happy.
Yeah. So it's impressive that fate and destiny would introduce you guys, and your
Yeah.
future bandmates in Solstice. It's like a perfect fit. It's just to me, it was meant to be. You can see all the cards lining up. So it's a really beautiful story of the background there. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Now, I know
Nice.
an
Yeah.
original member of the band, Mark Elton, which you spoke of before, the violinist and keyboardist. He's an excellent musician, by the way, and I know you know
Oh,
that.
incredible.
And he had to
Incredible. Yeah.
leave for the fans who did not know this story. He had to leave due to a severe tinnitus that he had when he did live performances with the amplification and everything. But
Yeah, I mean, essentially, so the 5 years that we were playing in the band together,
yeah.
he had his fiddle through a guitar amp, which he'd have up at ear level behind him,
Oh,
screaming frequencies.
oh, yeah, that
And
would do it.
that'll do it exactly. And then when the band split up in '85, I think Mark just wanted to put it behind him
Yeah.
anyway, right? He didn't want to come back to the band, although he made 2 more albums with me, bless his heart. But from that point on, it was all had to be acoustic music for him
Right.
because
Right.
because of the tinnitus, exactly.
That's tight.
So
That's so tough.
he's continued to play. I'd say mostly kind of classical music
Yeah.
and Baroque music. He plays in a bluegrass band as well. So he's continued playing and teaching.
Oh, that's good.
But Solstice is consigned, to his history now,
Yeah.
and
You're
always
part
has
of one
been.
another right now. So, yeah, that's
Sure,
great history.
yeah,
That's great history to
yeah.
have. So, your studio recordings, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about your recording engineering background. Your studio recordings are impeccable. And as a recording
Oh,
engineer
thank you.
myself, the quality is abundantly impressive. Like throughout all your recordings, I can hear very clear sounds, and I can hear all the characteristics of the sounds that I think you meant to bring out. When did you feel the need to remaster, these phenomenal albums? Because I'm hearing a distinction for starters. Like when I heard The New Life, and then I went back and heard the original release, I can hear the difference. It's boomier.
Good.
It's really out there, and I think that I'm not questioning at all, the reasoning behind you remastering these releases. But as a record engineer, if I recorded a project, I don't want to come back like 10 years, 20 years later and go, I want to do that one again. Because that questions what I did 20 years ago. But you did some great stuff. How did you wrap that
Yeah.
up? How did you figure that out, that you wanted to go back and do a better job? And did you do
Well,
the mastering, or did someone else do the remastering for you?
no, I did it. I
Okay.
did it. I mean, I don't have a proper mastering. So, I don't have amazing
I
speakers or anything
understand.
like
I
that.
understand. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's about your ears, isn't it? It's
Yes, it
always
is.
about. It doesn't matter how good the stuff is you have.
Yep.
It's what you hear.
What you hear. You're right.
Silent Dance was a no-brainer because I never thought it sounded great anyway. So
Right.
and I didn't engineer that anyway. I didn't
Oh, okay.
engineer it. I didn't mix it. I didn't master it. So that was, we were really excited to work with, his name is Nigel Maslin Jones. He is a great singer-songwriter, and we were big fans of his work. And so when we approached him and he was interested in producing this, because at that point we had no experience of engineering,
Right.
so it was in his hands entirely. And then, as I say, because of the dissatisfaction, I thought I'd better learn. And then through the '80s and the '90s, I did a lot of studio engineering in studios in the region. Which is how that's how I met Clive Bunker and how I ended up working for Jethro Tull for a few years.
I was going to suggest that because I was getting to that next. I was amazed when I found that out. I didn't know that was part of your history. So, and he gave you, from what I understand, 5 tours or 5 shows that you worked with him at the time. Like it looked like you were on the border of taking a full-time position working for him, and then.
Yeah, I did for a couple of years. Yeah, I did. I think 4 or 5 American tours. I did a 3-month European tour. The first gig, so it's a nuts story, right? So I was engineering, producing actually an album for Mick Abrahams, who was the original guitarist for Jethro Tull. He was doing like an acoustic album, and he got Ian to come in to put some flute and some blues harp on a couple of tracks. So that's when I met Ian, and we got on fine. And then the next day, Kenny Wiley, who was Jethro Tull's production manager, phoned up and said, Ian would like to have a musician on front of house. Are you interested? And I'm like, well, yeah, but I've never done live sound before. I'm a studio engineer, and
Right.
live
Big
sound is a
difference.
very big difference,
You
completely
bet.
different skill set, right? So
Yes.
I said, so I'd love to, but I'm not really a man. So anyway, Ian's like, yeah, but I want to, apparently, yeah, but I want to try this guy. So I had to go down to Ian's manor, into the studio, and weirdly, my audition was mixing a track from Roots and Branches, which was their current album.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I had like a 3-hour slot to do it, and Ian spent about an hour and 45 minutes talking to me. So then I had like an
Hour
hour,
and
I'd
15.
like, yeah, 15. So of course I couldn't really do a lot. I just got like a
Yeah.
nice mix up, nice
Yeah.
balance, and I know there'd been some heavy engineers in there auditioning for him. But he liked what I did because I didn't do much to it. I didn't do loads of processing, which he's not into. Well, I didn't have
Right.
time to do loads of
Right.
processing.
Right.
So anyway, I got the gig, and my first experience of ever doing live sound was the first day on the Jethro Tull UK tour. I mean, talk about terrifying,
I
man.
know. I
I
can see
mean,
myself in that position, sitting at the console going, oh my God, what have I done?
yeah, and it's like this massive Yamaha console, that you have to walk up and down. I'm
Yeah.
like, shit, where is everything? So that was nuts, and but bless him, Ian was a great guy to work for. And I said
Yeah.
to him, "Yeah, we did the tour. It was like 2 weeks." I said, "Look, Ian, I don't really know what I'm doing, man. He said, "Oh, it's okay," and he sent me to Florida to go on a sound reinforcement course.
Wow.
Which was where I learned a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tough gig. So Ian would require, not just from me, from any engineer, he wanted a cassette copy from the board, a board tape every night, right?
Oh.
Every night. So, of course, obviously I did him one. Interesting though, because I did that first show I did, he listened to the tape, he said, yeah, I think you're boosting 3K, man. If you could just bring that back, it would be fine. And do you know what? That's exactly what I've been doing.
Wow. What ears,
So
huh?
his good ears, he knows what he's hearing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a good experience. And I did a lot of work for them for as I say, for about 18 months, 2 years. Yeah, it was
That's a great
good.
story. Thank you for sharing that. Another great story in your history. So I know we're going to run out of time eventually. You've got about 2 or 3 minutes left. I just want to try to keep you abreast of that so we don't get cut off and I can gracefully exit this. You are a touring legend. You guys tour, and I hear more about your tours than I do about the projects. Everybody loves you live. The energy, the joy, everything that comes out of your stage shows is so special. I have not seen one video where I didn't smile watching you guys play. You were so just engrossed and interactive and, enjoying the moment. It's like, this is what music is all about. This is what you want in a band right here.
Beautiful.
So that's I'm serious. Now, can you share with me some highlights of your tour briefly? Can you tell me about anything, any memorable stops or anything that, I'm sure you got a bunch of them, right?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's to my top priority is when we go out, it's a good experience for the band.
Absolutely.
And we have a good time. We have a good time, and that's it for me, and of course, I'm just amazed all this is happening, at my age, this kind of resurgence in interest in the band.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been some highlights. I guess the one that comes to mind first of all is playing Cropperty Festival, which is the Fairball Convention Festival.
Yeah.
We got to play to 20,000 people. I didn't see that coming. And it was, it was just one of those gigs where, you never know what's going to happen on a gig. That's another thing I like about playing with the band.
Yeah, the surprises.
You never know what's going to happen, man.
Yeah,
but on that, but that gig went really well, and Clive Bunker, who we just mentioned, he got up and played a song with us, which was great because he's a real legend at that festival.
Yeah.
So we've always been like I always felt like festivals is where we're most at home. So, you know, all the festival gigs are great. We've got a really nice one coming up actually on this next little tour, which is called A New Day
Yep.
Festival, and they're always great. But but yeah, I guess Croppedy, and unfortunately, Croppedy got filmed and recorded, and I was able to mix it, and you know that's obviously out, you know, as a release.
Yeah.
So so that was particularly special. But there's been a lot of nice gigs, man. I'd say every gig's been a nice gig. We do we play the Stables every year, which is
Yeah.
yeah, one of the few shows we can actually sell out, and that's always pretty special. It's
Yeah.
a local vet theatre, but it's yeah, it's a real nice. Everyone comes, and it's just a real nice kind of. It's become our spiritual home.
Yeah.
So Stables is always a good one. But you know, live music, you know, shit happens, things go wrong. You
Yep.
just got to embrace it and love it and have a good time.
Yep.
And you know, that's what we try and do.
Well, I've always felt that's perfect philosophy because I've always felt you got to enjoy the moment. You got to be in the moment, whether something happens
Exactly.
or not, and you're going to react to whatever happens more gracefully when you're in the moment than when you're, you know, anticipating a catastrophe or something like that, which is going to disrupt your
Yeah.
whole concentration on playing and things. But
Yeah, I mean, listen,
it's huge.
it's such a privilege to be able to play for an audience that are
Oh,
enjoying what you're doing, man.
absolutely.
There's nothing better than that, you know.
Yeah.
So that overrides everything.
Absolutely. Hey, because of time constraints and because I just got a pop-up notification, I'm going to ask you one more question before we phase out here. Okay.
Sure.
You're working. Are you working on the next album? I don't know if I heard something in the
Yes.
background. Okay, great. Is there a date
Yes,
or any
sir.
kind of ETA or what you're looking at or
Yeah, the ETA is the summer solstice next year, June the 21st.
okay.
That's the date we're heading for. The album's like half written and half demoed, I would say. I'm
Yeah.
very excited about the way it's coming together.
Oh, that's good to hear.
So, but you know, it's typically like takes me about 2 years to make an album.
Sure.
So, but yeah, yeah, that's the plan. Next summer solstice, boom, new album.
All right, put me on the list.
Okay, thank you, Vin. That's great.
I definitely want to hear that. One more question before we run. What's your favorite guitar in your arsenal? You gotta have one.
Oh, mate. Oh no.
Yeah, I gotta pick a child.
Yeah. Well, the one I use all the time is this. You know, it's an old this old, yeah. What is it? Charvel
Oh,
275. That's the one I use most of the time.
yeah,
275 Deluxe. But you know, I used to love my SG 2000, Yamaha SG 2000,
Yamaha.
which yeah, like the one Santana used to use,
Yeah.
and it got stolen back in the day, and I'm just about to take possession of the same guitar. You know, it's not that one guitar, but it's the same one. So I'm looking forward to that. But the Charvel, I mean, it's weird because it's like, you know, it's a heavy metal vibe on
Oh
there,
yeah.
which I
Oh
don't like.
yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Okay.
it just does
Got a good
everything I
feel.
need. It
Great.
feels wicked. It's got a lot of different versatile sounds in it. So boom, plug it in, it works. You know.
Yep, that's what you want, reliability. Hey, listen, I
Yeah.
really hate to go. I could go another hour with you with no problem at all, but I am so grateful that you took the time to be here with us today, and we really,
Oh
really
man.
appreciate talking to you. I mean, thank you so much. That's all I can say is that, you know, you guys are phenomenal. Um, Best of luck to you and the band. I wish you all the great health moving forward for the
Oh,
whole
bless you,
band. And
man.
we're always looking forward to new Solstice music. So I'm going to already start pumping some flags on your release thoughts for next year and get that going on my end here. It's just because
Oh,
I love
magic.
doing that. So
Thanks so much. It's such
oh,
a
you're so
pleasure to
welcome.
talk to you, man. Yeah.
Thank you, Andy.
Bless you, Vin.
Hey,
All
take
right.
care. And thank you again, Andy, for your time. Have a great day. All right.
All right. You too, buddy.
All
Take
right.
care now.
Take care.